Clarity is a big deal when it comes to being successful in life, but especially when it comes to being productive and getting things done. And so this map is going to talk about how clarity works in context of getting things done. First thing to realize is that your brain likes to take the path of least resistance. When you're given two choices as to what to do, your brain looks at those two choices and says, which one's a hassle and which one's easy? And usually the one that's easiest to start, the one that's easiest to complete, is the one that your brain tends to do. Because if there's hassle, that means resistance. Your brain doesn't like resistance. And so that takes us to our next point where it says the lack of clarity creates resistance. So when you don't have clarity about the things that you want to do or how to do them or whatever it may be, then that creates resistance, that creates confusion, that creates hassle in your brain. That's how your brain sees those kinds of things. And so when you have tasks that aren't clear, then your brain sees those as roadblocks. And it has to make a choice. Do I do the task that I know I should do? I know I should do this thing, whatever it may be, a big project, maybe paying your bills, whatever it may be. But you might know that you should do it, but if it's a hassle, guess what? Your brain is going to see that hassle as a roadblock, and it's going to look for something easier to do, which is almost always there. Which is why procrastination and goofing off win. Because procrastination and goofing off are always easy. Always. So there's no resistance to goofing off. There's no resistance to procrastinating. And so starting and completing that task of procrastination is going to be much easier to do if you're not clear about the work that you need to do. And so when your brain says, okay, I've got this important task that I need to do, but I'm not really sure what needs to be done or how to do it, that's the resistance. And over on the other side here, I have just checking my email, I have moving papers around, and those kinds of things. And guess what? That's procrastination. That's easy to do. And so your brain is almost always going to take the easy route. So how do you change that? Well, clarity creates a superhighway to taking action. So getting clear about what needs to be done and how to do it is like laying down a superhighway to taking action. Because what happens is when you get clear about what needs done and how to do it, then that gives your brain confidence. It gives you the confidence to act. And you realize that you can act on that task, whatever it may be, with your foot on the gas because there's no resistance. You have defined what you need to do, the clear outcome, the intention of the goal, and you've defined what and how to do it. And as a result, that's like putting down a highway to completing that task. And when you do that, then procrastination is less desirable. But that's only because you've removed the resistance to the task by getting clear about it. So why does this matter and how can you use it? Well, there are several things here we're going to talk about. If you can't see ideas and information in an instant, then you need more clarity. So what this means is that if you have lists and plans and goals and things like this that are information-based items in your life, they need to be in a form that you can instantly look at them, review them, and see them clearly. So there aren't any confusing aspects to them, but you need to be able to look at them instantly. This is why it's so important to write things down. Write down your lists, write down your plans, write down your goals so that you can see them clearly. Because if you can't, that's a roadblock and your brain is going to resist from doing it. And instead of getting your goals and your important things done, it's going to be easier to procrastinate. So make sure those kinds of items are in a written form that you can review and quickly analyze. The next is if you avoid interacting with something in your environment because you don't know what to do with it, you need more clarity. So if you look at your environment, you have papers, you have books, you have folders that You aren't sure what you need to do with them. You don't know what's in them. You don't know how to organize them. You don't know why they're on the desk or on the floor. That's a lack of clarity. And guess what? If those things are important, which they typically are, folders, papers, books, all very important things, then, and if you're not clear about why they're there and what needs to be done with them, then you're going to continue to look at them and resist doing anything with them, and you're going to procrastinate. Let's move on to the next one. If you don't know the next action that you need to take with an item, you need more clarity. So these include things like tasks, projects, decisions. All of those have a next action, something that is the very next thing that you can do that you need to define. You need to be clear about the next action on a task that you need to complete, a project you need to work on, or a decision that needs to be made. What's the next action? You need to be clear about that, because if there is confusion or if there's a lack of clarity, guess what? That's going to be a roadblock to actually doing something with those important items. So make sure you're clear about them. And finally, if you think, plan, and speak in generalities, this may sound weird, but it's true, then you're not thinking clearly enough. So what this means is, in your everyday life, in order to be a clear person, a person who appreciates and values clarity, you want to think clearly. So that means you want to see things clearly as much as you possibly can in your mind. And you want to plan clearly. You want to write things down and write them down in as many details and specifics as you possibly can, and speak clearly. Give up speaking in generalities. Speak in details and specifics, because as it mentions here, that helps you to strengthen your clarity muscle. And that clarity muscle is going to help you to eliminate these roadblocks so that you can spend less time procrastinating and more time on this clarity highway to getting things done.